The title of our study today is Standing in the Storm. Standing in the storm. To kind of set the stage, I want to bring to your attention a couple of storms that have occurred in recent history. Hurricane Katrina. If you can think back on where you were, what you were doing during that time when Hurricane Katrina came through. And also Hurricane Sandy recently. Like Hurricane Katrina and or Sandy, storms or whirlwinds, they'll come. In fact, they always come every year to the region that we happen to be in. But when a hurricane or a storm or one of these whirlwinds come, what typically happens? Anybody?
Destruction.
Destruction of property. Isn't that right? That's one thing that happens. What else happens?
Confusion, injury.
There's normally some confusion about what to do, where to go.
Loss of lives.
Injury and loss of lives. Does it set people back
Yes.
in their life?
Yes.
Is it a planned thing that they plan for?
No.
So anytime something like that comes in and devastates a person's life like that, that can be challenging to recover from and get back on track. Especially if you don't have the money to do so. Isn't that right?
Mm.
But what we've, just in the words that you guys have used, what we can conclude is that when these storms occur, and one type of storm is a hurricane. It's a whirlwind. But another type is also a tornado. That's another type. A typhoon is another. They're different types, but they're all storms, whirlwinds. And they all do the very same thing. There's even some that involve snow, snowstorms. But the same things happen. Devastation and personal loss is normally pretty great. Now, in those hurricanes or in these storms, is everybody devastated? Does everybody have loss? Does everybody lose? The personal losses of everybody, or is it certain people? Is everybody touched by it, or is it just certain people?
Certain people.
Certain people. Yeah. Certain people. And if you think about it, who are these certain people? Or who does? Who are the ones, if these certain people, who are they? Why is this happening? Typically, people are not properly prepared to suffer this greater loss. They're just not properly prepared for it. So by living with that assumption, that risk, I could call it, what happens is this risk gets materialized. And that risk shows up. It's almost like someone buying a beachfront property, knowing that during tornado season or during hurricane season, what could probably happen? A hurricane could show up. So that's a risk that those people are choosing to take. What is a storm? Webster defines the word storm, and storm is our Bible spelling word for this study. Webster defines the word storm as a disturbance of the atmosphere marked by wind and usually rain, snow, hail, sleet, or thunder and lightning. But there's a definition that I'm interested in when we look at this word storm that we'll focus on today, and it is a violent assault on a defending position. A violent assault on a defending position. Because when I look back at Hurricane Katrina, it was a violent assault on the shores of the Gulf of Mexico. Although they are disturbances of the atmosphere marked by wind and rain, for the most part, and thunder and lightning, they caused a lot of damage, though, to things that people thought were built. But the things weren't prepared for that level of devastation. They weren't prepared for that level of attack or assault. And if you think about it, it was an assault. It was a violent assault on the shores of Louisiana, Mississippi, Panhandle of Florida, southern part of Alabama, and it was a violent assault on the East Coast, from the northern portion of the Carolinas up to New York. And with that assault, that violent assault, their defending positions was basically the way that they had constructed things, the way that things were laid out. That was the country's defending position. And apparently that defending position was not enough. But storms, just like when it comes to weather, and that's not what we're focusing on today. The same thing is true when it comes to life. That problems, trials, and tribulations are also characterized as violent assaults on a defending position. A problem that a person has, trials that a person may be going through, tribulation that a person may be involved in the same way impacts a person's life. And the defending position that that person would be in is where they were when that issue came up, when that problem came up, when that trial came up, that tribulation came into their life. But like storms, these problem, trials, and tribulations, they can pop up like wildfires. People don't know when wildfires will pop up. But once they start, they just pop up. And they rage. Sometimes they rage for miles, destroying everything the fire rages for miles, destroying everything in its path. And everything can seem to be happening at the same time, causing your life to become uncontrollable. If you've ever heard anybody use the expression, the Morton Salt expression, when it rains, it pours, they were speaking more than just about rain. That's attributed to when people feel like they're going through a storm of problems, trials, and tribulations. They believe it's a violent assault on their defending position. Their defending position is their lifestyle. A violent assault on their lifestyle and the resources that they have available to themselves. A violent assault that they, in most cases, were not properly prepared to address and usually end up suffering. In fact, what we find is that some storms are just plain inescapable. Well, not some, all storms are inescapable. If you think about it for a moment, there is nowhere on the face of the earth that a person can go that they won't experience some disturbance in the atmosphere, marked by wind, usually rain, snow, hail, sleet, or thunder and lightning. There's nowhere on the earth that a person can go where they will not experience that condition in some level or some magnitude. So it's inescapable for a person to get away from a weather-related storm. Usually in weather-related storms, everybody will be tried. It's not just a certain group of people that are tried. Everybody is tried. I remember when the Hurricane Katrina and Sandy came through. Those hurricanes, although I wasn't directly in the hurricanes themselves when they came ashore, indirectly, I was affected. Specifically for Katrina, because I found myself driving along I think it was I-10 that goes east and west, right? In Florida.
Yeah.
Yep, where I-10 continues to go west, outside of Florida. And I was on I-10 traveling back to Georgia in August when Katrina was coming through. We're on our way back from the Junior Olympics. But it hadn't gotten ashore yet. But there was significant rain you couldn't even see. So much rain. Couldn't even see the road. Couldn't see that, 2 feet in front of you or behind you. And stopping, although it seemed like a good idea, if somebody didn't see you on the side of the road, it's not a good idea. So the best thing, that I thought to do was just to continue on slowly and let the Lord continue to lead and guide me and pray. But the point that I'm making is that I didn't have an option not to be impacted by that hurricane, although I was in that area. So it touches everybody's life. But also problems, trials, and tribulations touch everybody's life as well. So the idea of storms being a violent assault on a defending position, the defending position for people is the quality of their life. That's the violent assault. When a problem, trial, or tribulation comes into a person's life, it's an assault on the quality of life that they were living before it happened. So that storm, when it comes into a person's life, just like in the case of a physical storm, it's an assault on the quality of life that those people are living. The same thing is true when a problem or trial or tribulation comes into a person's life. It's an assault on that person's quality of life, the life that they're living at that moment. And when you get enough problems, trials, and tribulations coming at you, popping up, if you're not careful, your life can seem like it's uncontrollable. What this should tell us, though, is that all will be tried to see if we put in place the proper plans to survive. Oh, praise be to God, from whom all blessings flow. It is our prayer at Clay Family Ministries that your life has been increased with the increase of God through this study. We appreciate and are thankful for your fellowship during this life skills study segment.